Thank you, Ravinder. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, friends. Thank you for being here with us today and for giving me and honoring me with the gift of your time, which is a precious commodity for all of us. Um, the subject today is about the golden rule, which is a very dear subject to me. Coming as I do from not from a Baha'i background, but from a Christian Catholic background. And I arrived to the conclusion and to the discovery of the oneness of religion through study of the golden rule, actually, and the commonalities about all these great religions. So what I'll do today is I'll give you a short introduction about for those of you who are not familiar with the Baha'i faith. Just very briefly, we are an independent worldwide religion. We are a revealed religion. We are not a sect of any other religion. It is one of the Abrahamic faiths. Our founder, Baha'u'llah, is a descendant of Abraham through the house of David. He is a direct descendant of the Sasanian Zoroastrian kings in ancient Persia, which fulfills one of the prophecies anyway, in the Zoroastrian religion. And so we are all a worldwide religious faith. We're as besides second only to Christianity, we are all over the world. We have no priesthood, so we have no preachers or priests or any of that. And I am not an official representative of the Baha'i faith today. I am just a Baha'i. I am a private citizen, just enjoying a private conversation with you and sharing what I think is very important and it's something that is very dear to me. The opinions that I espouse today are my own and or other writers' opinions or interpretations. They're not authoritative, except when I quote scripture. And also my purpose today is to help us navigate this complicated world of today and put my little grain of sand into building a peaceful, unified society in this complicated, at times kind of insane but beautiful world. And I was thinking today, if any of you are following the news, NASA is head over heels presenting all these beautiful out of space pictures of the space and the galaxies and all kinds of things. And I don't understand enough to fully appreciate what this all, all it is. Only to I barely apprehend the significance of this. But I was thinking in trying to grasp and perhaps navigate this thing about the need to a peaceful, unified, prejudice-free society that the study of the golden rule tries to instill in us. I was thinking it would be a good time to meditate on the world that we are being faced with, which is actually interplanetary. We are going to be facing other worlds. And we're not the only ones, and it's science is confirming it. And actually, it's in our holy writings. Baha'u'llah 200 years ago said, "Know for sure that every fixed star has its own planets, and every planet has its creatures, as many as only God has can know how many." And so forth. So we will make contact. I am a firm believer of that. And we hope that we are ready by then and we have a unified planet down here, because we need to work on it. And this is what Baha'is do. We feverishly work to create a unified, peaceful world in whatever way we can. And so this is my little grain of salt or sand today to do that. Because some of you may not be familiar with the Baha'i faith, or may be curious or interested to know who we are and what we do, here are two official websites. And so you can go in there in depth for the history of the faith, who we are, how we came about, what we do, anything you want to ask. And if that is not enough, there is also a phone line here where you can get in touch with Baha'is in your own community. So that is in case you have, beyond what we do today and tomorrow, we have more questions and more need to find additional information. So my presentation is brief and is constrained to what is the Golden Rule and how come it is present in all revealed religions. It is, of course, present in the great philosophies and ethic teachings around the world, but are concentrated on the revealed religions for today. And what explains this universality? And so I promise you that I will present to you our explanation from the Baha'i perspective, how Baha'is see the universality of the Golden Rule, and how come is present in all these real faiths. Now, why is it so important to know and study and appreciate the universality of the Golden Rule, which is this profound moral principle? And what are the implications of this universality? Is it the need to live in society that makes the Golden Rule necessary? And we Baha'is believe so, because we believe that the great manifestations of God have brought their teachings to us in order to educate us, to civilize us. And the Golden Rule is critical in educating, in creating an environment where us human beings can live peacefully with each other. Now, in today's rapidly shrinking world of intermingling peoples and cultures, we think it is critical that we observe and understand and appreciate the beauty of the Golden Rule and its universality in order to be instruments in building a peaceful coexistence, a peaceful society. Now, the study of the Golden Rule is a study of comparative religion, which is one of my dear subjects. And this is how I became actually a Baha'i over 30 years ago, was going through all these divine faiths and realizing there's got to be a unifying something to this, because it is impossible that we have all this division and I keep seeing the same divine message. If you go to the root of it, there is the same voice speaking to me. So to study the Golden Rule in comparative religion means that we look at the great revealed religions with an open mind and a pure heart, and learn to appreciate the beauty and the truth in all of them. And this is a very powerful tool for the elimination of religious prejudice and the elimination of religious hatred and violence, which we see in many places. I see, for example, we see in the Middle East and we see in India, Hindus and Muslims go at it. In many places, we see persecution of Christians, persecution of Baha'is, persecution of other peoples, solely because of their beliefs. Now, if we grasp a good understanding of and appreciation of other people's faiths, this could also have a profoundly enriching effect on the appreciation and understanding of our own religious faiths and traditions. And I say this from semi-personal experience, for example. Having come from a Christian tradition, the Christ that I know and love today is far, far immensely greater than the Christ I knew and loved when I was a Christian. Because Baha'u'llah has explained to me and had enhanced and beautified the image and the teachings that came with Christ. Same, it came to me, I had to love and appreciate and embrace other manifestations of God, which were not as dear to me as Christ was, because I was raised as a Christian. So it is, whatever tradition you're coming, this would be a very helpful tool in helping you appreciate the beauty of your own faith tradition. Now, there is a little book that I like to show to you, and this is this little book. Is I know is an old book, and it's called The Golden Rule: Universal Ethics. And the library may have it, I don't know. And it's a little book that I used a lot for this presentation. I used many other sources, but this is one of them. And the writer of this book, H.T.D. Rost, says, the study of the Golden Rule is a prime tool for the increase of understanding and dialogue among different faiths. It has particular relevance in today's world, where more and more people find themselves challenged by life in a multiracial, multi-religious society, and where the true challenge is increasingly perceived as the evolution of such a society into a unified, diverse, and peaceful civilization. And I don't have to explain to any of you the world of today. We are an international society. We are becoming a global civilization. We are every day, our interdependence and our interconnectedness is more and more evident to us. I like this COVID problem that we have these days. It's shown that we are all one community worldwide, and we need to take care of each other in order to survive and keep this world going. Now, the universality of the Golden Rule, we're going to go through some of the pronouncements in all the traditional faiths. And so we have, for example, the Christians, Matthew or Luke, and says, all things whatsoever ye will that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. Or do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, the Jews might quote Leviticus. They says, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, for example. And of course, there is more to that. The Golden Rule existed in the form of approximations to the sayings of Christ long before Christ arose to serve. And Hillel the elder, who lived 110 before Christ, said, what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. That is the entire Torah. The rest is commentary. And so this is just to introduce us to the fact that the Golden Rule statements are found in virtually every major religion existing in the world today, as well as in great ethical and philosophical teachings. For example, most people are not aware of a very similar teaching attributed to Confucius in China, in Asia, in 551 before Christ. What you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others. And in the Hindu book, the Mahabharata, we find, which is 8th century before Christ, we find the following corollary: false, mustard, small of others, ye see well. You own as large as bell fruit, you see not. There is a similar statement by Christ in the gospel, when he says, and I'm paraphrasing, that we see the flaw in my neighbor's eye, but I don't see the huge beam in my eye. I see his fault, but I don't see mine. Excuse me. It's also found, the golden rule is also found in the Bhagavad Gita, which is a beautiful, it's called the song of Shiva. Is a very ancient, very, very ancient. The composition range, the estimated date of its composition range from the 4th century before Christ to the 4th century of our Lord. And it says, do not to others what ye do not wish done to yourself, and wish for others too what ye desire and long for yourself. This is the whole of Dharma. Hear it well. And in this, we just heard Hillel the elder say, this is the whole of Torah. The rest is commentary. So we see all these similarities in all these faiths that have no connection to each other. It seems in the Sikh religion, from the ground through the sacred book of the Sikhs, we see, for example, the following: be thou not strange from one another, for in every heart pervades the Lord. And as thou deemest thyself, so deem others. In the Jain faith, in happiness and suffering, in joy and grief, we should regard all creatures as we regard our own self, and should therefore refrain from inflicting upon others injury as well appear undesirable to us if inflicted upon ourselves. And so the subject is repeated and repeated. In the Buddhist faith, the Lord Buddha says, for example, all strength from suffering and all love life. Remember that thou art too like them. Make thine own self the measure of others, and so abstain from causing hurt to them. Because you are the same, you are that same which you would slay or order here and there against his will, or put in prison, or subject to pain, or treat with violence. Ye are that same, the self-same life that circulate on all. Now, the golden rule, as we already saw, existed in the form of approximations to the signs of Christ long before his Christ appeared. And so we will see why, we try to see why it has been posted in all, or expressed in all these other faiths, in all these religions. This is repeating somehow. The Zoroastrian religion is a beautiful faith in the ancient Iran or Persia. It's a monotheistic religion as well. It's believed to have influenced Judaism and Christianity. In Zarathustra or Zoroaster says, that which is good for all and anyone for whomsoever that is good for me. And what I hold good for self, I should for all. Only law universal is true law. It's the same again. This is the whole of Dharma, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita. But this is the whole Torah, as Hillel the elder said. Now in the Jewish faith, we got again, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. And what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. That is the entire Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Again, the universality and the beauty of it. And then we go to the Old Testament to Christ, to New Testament. And one of the Pharisees, who was a lawyer, asked, teacher, what is the great commandment in the law? And he said, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. In the beautiful religion of Islam, The golden rule is also in some of the statements attributed to Muhammad, where he says, none of you is truly a believer until he wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself. Seek for mankind that which ye are desirous for yourself, that you may be a believer. Treat well as a neighbor the one who lives near you, that you may be a Muslim. Thank that which you want for yourself, seek for mankind. And we come to the Baha'i faith, which also has beautiful and many statements about that. I just get a couple. With Baha'u'llah, our founder says, lay on any soul a load which you would not wish to be laid upon you. And desire not for any one the things ye would not desire for yourselves. This is my best counsel unto you, that ye will observe it. O son of man, if thine eyes be turned towards mercy, forsake the things that profit thee, and cleave unto that which will profit mankind. And if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. Blessed is he who preferred his brother before himself. Now, this is just a small sample of statements of the golden rule being presented in all these universal religions, in all this space. And of course, there is a lot more than we're not getting into it because we don't have much time. But you can continue your own exploration on the beauty of this golden rule and where it's presented. And there's been a common, let's say, for lack of a better word, accusation against the founders of the great religions. And some have argued that they copy from each other. Now, we Baha'is have a different explanation for why there is this perceived commonality found among these religions. And we will get into that next. So it is not that they have copied from each other, that there is a consistency in the message that is being sent by God. It is all a one revelation. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Baha'is, in a nutshell, briefly, we are a strictly monotheistic religion, and it is based on three principles. It's the oneness of God, the oneness of religion, and the oneness of humanity. And our understanding of the universality of the golden rule is based on these three principles. God is one, the oneness of God. All the great revered religions attest to this truth, and their sacred scriptures proclaim it. The spiritual teachings demonstrate the existence of one common divine source. This is a very important statement. One common divine source. Here is a small little sample. Judaism, the Lord our God is one Lord. In Hinduism, but just how many gods are there? One. In the Baha'i faith, bear thou witness that verily he is God, and there is no God but him, the King, the Protector, the Incomparable, the Omnipotent. In Christianity, for us there is but one God, the Father of whom all things are. In Islam, he is God alone, God the Eternal, and there is none like unto him. The oneness of religion, and this is a very dear thing to me. Because it opened to me the doors to this beautiful universe of faith, the oneness of religion. And I hope to be able to guide you, or at least present you with the beauty of this truth. Religion is one. And this is kind of difficult for a lot of people to accept, because we are all centered in small areas of what we understand to be religion. So let me start by stating what religion is not. Religion is not the multitude of different sects currently in existence. Religion is not the rituals and man-made traditions and dogmas that have obscured the light of religion. By the way, Baha'is have no dogma. And religion is not simply the personal attitude to life tailored to my own ideas and conveniences. Many of my so-called new age friends have made their own mix of ideas of this and that and here and there, and said this is my religion, this is my, because they haven't found a spiritual home, and so they keep seeking, I suppose. Now, what religion is, according to the Baha'i understanding, what religion is, it is a loving, reciprocal relationship between man and his creator. And it is reciprocal because he expects from us certain things as we expect from him certain things. And so it's reciprocal. We have a covenant. Now, it is one single, limitless, unfolding reality. This is Baha'u'llah saying the eternal faith of God, eternal in the past, eternal in the future. And this is the way that God has devised to educate humanity. This is very important. It's one single, limitless, unfolding reality, the eternal faith of God, eternal in the past, eternal in the future. And it is then a dynamic force propelling humanity towards a more perfect existence, to its ultimate spiritual destiny. It is the primary driving force of the civilizing process. This is some of the ways, so this is in a nutshell how Baha'is see religion. It is this beautiful, one, single, limitless, unfolding reality. It is the principal force impelling the development of human consciousness. See, in the entire creation, in the entire universe, we are God's most perfect creation. The human being is the only one that has been endowed with a soul in the image of his creator, with all the potentialities latent in his soul, and is the only being devoted, provided with rational mind and consciousness. And so, as science has demonstrated a million times now, that the human race is, in all its diversity, is but a single species. So we believe that the intervention by which God cultivates the qualities of mind and heart latent in that species is a single process. We said it's a reciprocal relationship between man and his creator. And since man is one single species in this planet and who knows where else, our relationship with our creator is one in the process that he uses to elicit all these divine qualities with which we have been endowed is also one. Now, we also call religion as the single evolutionary process that is viewed as the intervention of the divine in the evolution of human history. And in fact, a study of history will show that a great civilization has always emerged when a great teacher has appeared. It is their teachings. It is this impetus, this energy released into the universe that helps create this new great civilization. Now, if God is one, true religion, being the outer expression of the divine reality, is also one. As such, it is alive. It is a dynamic, progressive force. It is not dead. It was something that happened a million years ago and stayed there and that's it. It is alive. It is a dynamic, progressive force. And we believe that all the great revealed religions of the world have come from one source, the same source, in progressive stages, marked by the appearance throughout history of a messenger or manifestation of God. And this is how God educates humanity. It is part of his plan for humanity. It is how he, the unknowable essence, makes himself known to us. This is from the Baha'i writings. It's called One Common Faith. Throughout history, the great religions have been the primary agents of spiritual development for the individual. The scriptures, the city of God, a source of knowledge that totally embraces consciousness in a compelling way, so as to endow the believer with a new heart and a new mind. At the social level, the moral principles taught by each of these great religions have been translated into universal codes of law, regulating and elevating human relationships. Thus, we can see the major religions emerging as the primary driving forces of the civilizing process. And this is also part of why it is so important, this beautiful, seemingly simple, but very profound moral teaching of the Golden Rule is so important, because it enshrines all these divine teachings, and the teachings that God has sent are the primary driving force of the civilizing process. Now, we believe that God, the Creator, has intervened and will continue to intervene in human history by means of chosen spokesmen or messengers. These messengers or manifestations of God, as we call them in the Baha'i faith, are the founders of the great major revealed religions, and they comprise many whose records are lost. I only mentioned here a few. I haven't mentioned the manifestations present with the Aboriginal peoples of the Americas and Asia and Africa and so forth. These are the more current ones, the more recent ones. And we had Abraham and Moses, Zoroaster and Buddha, and Jesus and Mohammed and Baha'u'llah and many others. Again, because religion is not dead, it's not static, it's progressive, it's dynamic, it's an alive force in the universe. And it is the spirit released by the coming of these manifestations of God, together with the influence of their teachings and the social systems established by the laws and precepts, that enable humankind to progress in its collective evolution. Keep in mind the word collective evolution, because that's what we are doing. We are, in the world today, we are a witness to how we are a collective society being propelled at this speed to an evolution that is actually part of what we believe is a single divine plan directed by God. Because we believe that the manifestations from God have all come from the same God, and that the religious systems established by them are part of a single divine plan directed by God. And this is kind of a novelty idea, or it was for some of us, because we are not accustomed to think about in these terms, that there is actually a master plan for humanity, and that we are being propelled together to the birth of this global civilization that is going to be looking into God knows what the future holds, a planetary civilization. We are being propelled in a magnificent directions, and we believe that the future of humanity is magnificent, is beautiful. No matter what comes in between now and then, the future of humanity is a beautiful, beautiful future. Now, all of this has come, it will prepare us for talking about something that we in the Baha'i faith call progressive revelation. And this is what it means. And I really mentioned that we believe that the manifestations of God are the bearers or God's teachings for humanity, and that they come and that these teachings are released in progressive stages, because it is as if a teacher is teaching a child in school, and the teacher is teaching according to the child's capacity, not according to the teacher's capacity, but according to the student's capacity. And as the child advances in school, a new teacher is ascribed to him. New teachers are given more advanced are given to him. So progressive revelation by analogy is sort of similar in a way. And so we believe that divine revelation renews itself perpetually in accordance with divine purpose. This perpetual renewal is called progressive revelation, and it is eternal. There is no beginning and there is no end to this purpose, because religion is the outer manifestation of the divine reality. The divine reality is one and is eternal, without beginning and without end. According to Baha'u'llah, all the revealed religions have one and the same source. And listen to this. They are all equally true and valid, precisely because they are all successive expressions of one and the same divine reality and of the same divine plan for humanity. This is critical for all of us to understand and meditate about. The fact that all these beautiful, great religions have come from the same one divine source means that they all are equally true and valid, precisely because they are all successive expressions of one and the same divine reality and of the same divine plan for humanity. It's like a book with many chapters. And so we Baha'is consider the Baha'i is the latest chapter in this beautiful unfolding eternal history of the spiritual destiny of humanity. There is no finality to it. There is no end to it. And so this is why Baha'u'llah emphasizes both the validity and the unity of all revealed religions, and describes religious teachings as historically specific. That means that they come as is needed. As humanity needs it, a new manifestation shows up, and rejects any notion of the finality of divine revelation, while declaring the equality of all human beings and enjoining fellowship among all the religious communities. So there is no finality to the revelation of God, to the divine intervention in human history, because God is a loving Father, a loving Creator, and He will keep intervening as humanity needs it. And so what we see is different stages of this one beautiful unfolding reality called the religion of God. This is also from the Baha'i writings, and it says the fundamental principle enunciated by Baha'u'llah, the father of his faith, firmly believe, is that divine revelation is a continuous and progressive process, that all the great religions of the world are divine in origin, that their basic principles are in complete harmony, that their aims and purposes are one and the same, that their teachings are but facets of one truth, that their functions are complementary, that they differ only in the non-essential aspects of the doctrines, and that their missions represent successive stages in the spiritual evolution of human society. Religion has two parts. It's the eternal, unchanging, eternal faith of God. And then there is the, let's say, the administrative side of it, the laws that come and go as society evolves. If there is a need for renewal and new laws come into effect, because society needs new laws and new guidelines. But the core principles remain actually eternal. This is the changeless faith of God, eternal in the past, eternal in the future. Now, after all this brief view of the world religions and what we think about and where they came from, let me show you in this is a little graphic that will illustrate for you more or less what we mean. There is one God. So there is one light, and all these different lamps reflect this divine light for us, humanity. And they all have come in different times to different people, and they all brought a divine revelation suited to the needs of humanity at that time. Now, in today's world, as we have seen and we live and experience, the world of today has become one. And so we believe that today, the manifestation of God has come for the entire world in order to unite all of these faiths and all of these peoples under one God for a one beautiful, united global community. Now, how should we look then at all the world great religions? And with regard to these various systems, Baha'u'llah said these principles and laws, these firmly established and mighty systems, have proceeded from one source and are the rays of one light. That they differ one from another is to be attributed to the varying requirements of the ages in which they were promulgated. Now, we have the expectation of renewal is intimately connected to the concept of progressive revelation. And is a promise enshrined in all the sacred scriptures of all divinely revealed religions. And it is what actually is the other side of the coin, so to speak. It gives continuity to this beauty of progressive revelation. Is the promise of renewal, because all religions come and it's like a beautiful tree, and it grows and develops and it yields its fruit, and then it's time for the renewal. And so it happened to say Christ came to renew what the Jews had at that time, for example, and then he promised he would return, and he referred to the coming of His Holiness Muhammad, and His Holiness Muhammad spoke about the coming of Baha'u'llah, and so did Zarathustra or Zoroaster about the coming of Baha'u'llah, and so did Buddha, and so forth. And so there is a promise of this new revelation, of this renewal of the faith, or renewal. Here is in the Bhagavad Gita, we have one expression of that, where he says, where Lord Krishna is saying, he said, I come and go and come. When righteousness declines, O Bharata, when wickedness is strong, I rise from age to age and take visible shape and move a man with men, supporting the good, thrusting the evil back, and setting virtue on its seat again. Buddha said, I am not the first Buddha upon earth, nor shall I be the last. In due time, another Buddha will arise in the world, a holy one. He will reveal to you the same eternal truth which I have taught you. He will proclaim a religious life, holy, perfect, and pure, such as I now proclaim. Zoroaster said, when 1,200 and some years have passed from the inception of the religion of the Arabian, Muhammad, and the overthrow of the kingdom of Iran and the degradation of the followers of my religion, the descendant of the Iranian kings, this means Baha'u'llah, will be raised as a prophet. And this is from Zoroaster in the Zoroastrian faith. And Christ said, and we all know that, I have yet many things to say unto you, but cannot bear them now because we were not ready. It's like giving a child in kindergarten, physics that you can study in college or high school. The kid is not ready. So howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, come, he will guide you unto all truth. And nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. You see how we see the renewal of the promise of renewal. And I think uh, um, it's very important that we open our minds and our hearts to the beautiful possibility of renewal. And in the Quran, His Holiness Muhammad said, the same religion has he established for you as that which he enjoined on Noah, and which we have revealed to thee, and that which he commanded unto Abraham and Moses and Jesus, saying, namely, that you should remain steadfast in religion and make no division therein. See, the Muslim faith admits progressive revelation up to one point, and same as Christianity, for example, and many others. They consider their own particular denomination final, and the only one true faith. And I'm reminded of there is a anecdote on the astronomy and physics of the old days when Ptolemy said that the Earth was the center of the universe, and the sun and all the planets went around it. And then Copernicus comes and said, no, sir, it is the sun, which is at the center of the universe, of this universe, and all the planets go around it. And we can, by analogy, say that we have put our own faith denomination at the center of the universe of faiths, and consider that all other religions are valid and true only as they approximate our own, and as they are willing to come our own and become part of our own. And Baha'u'llah has said, it is God which is at the center of the universe of faiths. And all these other divine, beautiful religions have come from him, are emanations of him, and revolve around him. So this is why Baha'u'llah said they're all equally valid and true, because they all come from the same source, and there is no contradiction in God. So here it is. This is why Baha'u'llah emphasizes both the validity and the unity of all the revealed religions, and describes religion's teachings as historically specific, and rejects any notion of the finality of divine revelation, while declaring the equality of all human beings and enjoining fellowship among all the religious communities. Okay. We are repeating somehow. Okay. I apologize. This thing is repeating somehow. So, in conclusion, and I hope that we have a few minutes for questions or comments. In conclusion, and this has been this is also from the Quran. I skipped this one, I apologize. He says in the Surah 2:106, he says, none of our revelations do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten. But we substitute something better or similar. Knowest thou not that God hath power over all things? Because God does whatever he wills. He does as he pleases. So, in conclusion, we've taken a very brief journey to this beautiful world of the golden rule. And so I'd like to leave us with some questions. Is the universality of the golden rule part of a unified effort within a wider divine plan? Is this why so widespread among so many religions and peoples? and it has been enunciated by so many philosophers and sages. And furthermore, what are the implications of looking at the world great revealed religions with the eye of oneness? This eye of oneness is very, very critical. It's part of who the Baha'is try to teach around the oneness of God, which is intimately connected with the oneness of religion and the oneness of humanity. It's all one. And so what are the implications for all this oneness? One of them is that we believe that the essential unity of religion and progressive revelation, as understood from a Baha'i view, has profound implications for our understanding of the various approaches that can be taken towards the controversies surrounding the, quote, superiority of one religion over the others. If God is the center of all the revealed religions, or are equally valid. And in this, if this is our understanding, then religious prejudice and hatred must be eliminated. It will be eliminated if we really take to heart what we have understood by the beauty of the divine revelation as being one, being given to us in stages, in chapters. Now, the principle of reciprocity enshrined in the Golden Rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is fundamental to positive human relationships, and it encompasses infinite spheres of action. Because it can also involve social institutions and organizations, relations between nations, man's relations to nature and the environment. And so who are these others to whom we are to behave in a moral way? And as we said in the beginning, we are evolving towards a universal brotherhood as all the limited ties of tribal, caste, class, nationality, and so forth are disintegrating. We are becoming a one global, hopefully unified civilization. And so we need to look at all these beautiful past chapters of divine revelation as our own common spiritual inheritance. We all cherish that which has come before us because it paved the way for who we are today. And we are looking forward to the future, to what the future will bring and what the future we will help to build for the generations to come. And as we said, this is from Teilhard de Chardin, and he had in this, here he has some interesting observation where he's pretty much espousing what we have said this morning or this afternoon many times, that if we are looking at the NASA beautiful pictures of today, and what the telescopes are showing us is that we will be in the future looking at not just moral relationship to individual, but to planetary or cosmic duties, because we will be evolving into a planetary civilization. So this is the last slide, and this is some thoughts that I gathered to the what they call the society building power of the Golden Rule. If we think about it and we apply it as it should be, it is helpful in the elimination of prejudice. It is basic to it. Prejudice based on religion, race, nationality, class, because we are all one human race, one human species. And it doesn't matter how we look. It is like a garden with immense variety of beautiful flowers and different flowers. The more variety, the more beautiful the garden is. The Golden Rule is instrumental and critical in the application of justice, in the equality of the sexes. Men and women are always and have always been equal in the sight of God, because humanity has two wings, male and female, and if one wing is weak, the bird of humanity will never rise, will never fly and acquire to the heights which is destined to acquire. The Golden Rule is critical and it's instrumental in the access to healthcare, education, housing, and social opportunity. in the rules and protocols within the family, in the international relations between nations, where we need to treat other nations as we like us to be treated, with compassion, with brotherhood. We need to help each other. And I think COVID is showing us recently the catastrophic nature of what comes when we don't help each other. We're also looking at the golden rule in the protection of the environment for future generations, etc. So, friends, we come to the end, and I hope you have questions or comments. We will be allowed a few more minutes past the hour if we have questions or comments. And for tomorrow, if you have time and you are willing to join us again, we will have, since we finished our presentation today, we will have open floor for your comments and questions, and that will be actually pretty exciting, because this is what makes these presentations interesting, is to be able to participate. So I think I yield the floor to you, and